he hit it from everywhere at Barclays yesterday. It was quite a performance.
I know he's the greatest shooter of all time, but can we go another level with this? He warrants more attention than any player in NBA history. And that's considering Michael Jordan, Kevin Durant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. As soon as he crosses half court, I was at the game last night getting a chance to see it, you have to pay attention to where he is all the time because his range can extend. I mean, he made 2 shots in the first quarter that were from the logo. They're essentially from the logo.
From the Barclays Center logo. The blue
exactly.
logo. That's ridiculous.
And it's just like that kind of attention that warrants every ball screen. You see why the playbook is so open with him because everybody else with a high basketball IQ, if you're on that team, you do a simple backdoor cut, you're going to be wide open because everybody's focused their eyes on Steph Curry. He won the MVP vote last night. I mean, there's a distant gap between him and Kevin Durant right now.
And you heard the chants last night. Yes, he's on the visiting team, but the MVP chants with Kevin Durant on the same court were loud as the Warriors win 117-99 over the Nets. And this is Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. As Jay said, there's just something a little special about Steph Curry. His head coach, Steve Kerr, certainly notices it.
Steph is, there's never been anybody like him. So he's an offense just by himself. He's an offense because he's going to pull defenders with him 35 feet from the hoop. And then it's a matter of putting smart people around him like Draymond, like Andre, and many others who are going to take that defensive attention that Steph gets and then make behind the play.
That's the beauty of having him, though, Hahn, is like the coach just said, though, when you are pulling people from underneath their basket to run out there, even though they don't have a shot in hell, even if he pulls the trigger, you have athletic people, long people around him that can do the back cuts, get underneath the basket. I was watching Draymond last night, or even Draymond the last several games. He looked like a different, like he young again to me. You know what I'm saying, being able to get underneath. And if he decides to dish it, it's such an easy, smooth transition for that. I'm like, okay, they might be the best team out west. They might be. It's still early, but you know how that goes.
Not easy for you to say. I was actually going to go there. That was all Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Jay, I don't think you were ready yet to say there was a changing of the guard or maybe a return to really the favorite in the West. But have the Warriors convinced you that maybe they are that team to beat in the West?
Yeah, they're the team to beat right now. Especially, you see a lot of those numbers skewed defensively about them being the best defensive team in the league. But I saw it translate last night. I saw Andrew Wiggins guard James Harden down the stretch and really stay on James Harden's left hand the entire time and make him look like a less human being, like a less basketball player. I saw Draymond Green guard Kevin Durant, and when they try to pinpoint switches, when they try to get Stephen Curry on Kevin Durant, I see Draymond say, we're not going to switch. I'm staying here on this matchup. It's the coaching of Steve Kerr that has an advantage over Steve Nash. It's the defensive playing of that. And I'll tell you this, as a guard, and you weren't really a big, though, right? You were more of a kind of wing.
Tweener.
Tweener, okay.
Yeah, 3-4.
Sometimes as guards, as a point guard, and every guard will probably think about this, you look at some of your bigs sometimes, and you're like, man, look, I'm going to need you to be a little bit more attentive, bro. I'm going to need you to listen to the plays. I'm going to need you to know what the plays are. So think about this advantage that Steph has. A lot of stuff that he does involves continuity and ball screens. So you're always forcing that big to communicate to the guard where that screen is coming from. But a lot of times they slip screens, which means they don't even set the screen. Draymond just rolls to the bucket. So it constantly puts the defense on their heels. And when the bigs are the ones having to communicate that plays right into the hands of Stephen Curry. When they get Klay back, that's going to be a problem.
Well, and of course, that's the next thing is we're waiting to see when Klay Thompson will be back. And Key, can Klay's addition to this team turn it into a championship team, like a team that you would say, like if when he comes back and if he looks right, which we know it's been 2 years, it's the Achilles on one side, it's the ACL on the other. So it's hard to expect he's just going to drop in and be himself again. It might take time, but just adding him to what you already see, a team that has obviously Curry and Draymond, but has a bunch of young guys who have really come a long way. Are they that it team, not just in the West, but maybe in the league?
I think they could potentially be. From everything that I'm hearing from people close to Klay, really close to Klay, is that he's itching to get back. His ability to still shoot is still there. He's able to run the floor. He's able to do certain things in terms of transition or sideline to sideline. The defensive side of it is going to be the question mark because really the only thing that he's going through right now are drills from a defense. He's not really up on people doing defensive things. So because he's a 3-and-D guy. That's part of his bread and butter. But he can always shoot. That ain't gonna never go away, right? He can
doesn't
always
age.
It doesn't age. He can always do that. But what made him as special as he was as one of the top players in the league is he can play defense as well. If he can get some of that back along with the offense, then this team certainly is going to be a tough out. No matter who's coming out of where, it's going to be a tough out.
Steph Curry is going to turn 34 this season, Jay. What's the window for the Warriors to get if there's one more title to get in his prime? What's the window?
I think they got another 3-4 years.
3-4 years.
Yeah. I mean,
That puts him at almost 38.
38.
He's 34.
34. He's
He's
going to be
turning
34 this
34.
season.
Oh, Draymond's 31.
Yeah.
My
No.
bad. My bad.
It's
I think I'm another
so if you're
3-4
giving him
years.
4 years.
Can I tell you why? When you go and you play pickup basketball, there's always one dude at that pickup, that 24-hour fitness, that can just shoot the lights out of the ball. You combine that with having handles and how he can keep that thing on the string. It's not like you're asking him, to punish and attack the rim all the time. Being the greatest shooter of all time allows you to float on the perimeter. And that's a weapon within itself because it draws all the attention in the world. I'm not saying he could play at an MVP caliber level until he's 38. Maybe he can. But he'll always warrant that attention as long as they keep their core together, depending upon how Klay comes back.
And obviously, as the young players continue to develop and emerge. But, the way Wiggins has looked now versus what he looked like when he first joined the Warriors, it's two different players.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.